So this is our 4th week of Adventure in Spirit. As I said, we've done this for 26 years here. Every year we have an Adventure in Spirit, which used to be a 6-week, then a 5-week, now a 4-week program, where we really focus on developing our spiritual selves, that we return after those 4 weeks a little more conscious and available to the greater good that's present. We started out the first week where we tapped into the inner listening, the still small voice within. And then the second week was about trusting the divine guidance, the inner guidance within us. Last week was about releasing what was in the way so we can be led and guided by Spirit. And this week is about taking the hand of Spirit and bringing it to earth, which is really what spirituality is all about. That's why we're here. That's what we're here to do, is to make that connection. Yes, we're living in a time that is deeply beautiful and deeply troubled. But we have tools that we can use where we can move beyond the deeply troubled and learn to accept it. What I didn't tell you is after little Naya put down her fields of heaven, a little later she got a little angry and threw a pine cone and it hit me in the head. Just so you know, that's in all of us. We have both sides, the good and the bad within us. It's not all perfection. We need to learn to deal with it. So if you see the bruise right there, you'll know what it's from. So I had something else really strange going on for a couple of weeks. Spirit speaks to us in such interesting ways. Would you agree? Well, I have been, sometimes, only one other time in my life have I had smells, like when after our daughter died, I would smell gardenias in the most interesting places. Look around, there were no gardenias. I knew it was just her. It was just her being with me. Well, this time hasn't been quite that beautiful. I've been smelling oysters. And I'm sitting at my desk going, salty fish. I'll eat an oyster. They're not my favorite, but it's just like, what? There aren't oysters in here, and then I'll go somewhere else. And I can't remember where I was. The other night I was in bed, and I smelled oysters. Well, I knew there were no oysters in my bed. But I had the most interesting dreams that worked into some of the quotes I'm sharing this morning. All these quotes were going through my head, and it's not about wasn't from my first favorite Sufi mystic, Rumi, but my second favorite Sufi mystic, which is Hafez. But I looked up. Kirk said, well, I didn't tell him for 2 weeks, but then I had to tell him. And he said, well, we got to look up what that means. So I looked up the symbolic meaning of oysters. And it's about taking an irritant and turning it into something beautiful. Taking something unpleasant, like sand in your pants, like the oyster, took the sand in their pants and turned it into a beautiful pearl. And so, in my mind, I had all these beautiful quotes that were coming to me, and I said, I need to share those because those are the beautiful things that we can do to walk with Spirit, to connect heaven and earth, and to move forward in this light, in life with love and light and beauty. So the first quote that came to mind, Hafez, God's breath. I am a hole in a flute that God breathes through. Listen to the music. I am a hole in a flute that God breathes through. Listen to the music. That's really a message for us, because that flute, this is a really good metaphor in the Sufi tradition, that our body, our ego, is really a vessel for Spirit, and that's the flute. And the whole, of course, is our awareness, our consciousness, our willingness to see something bigger and brighter and more than what's right here with our physical eyes, to know there's always something greater at work. And then God's breath is the life force that's always available. But we have to do the spiritual purification within us in order to create the beautiful music, the beauty, the love, and the light that wants to show through, that wants to come through. So I'm going to get right to the point. Do you love yourself enough to be that vessel of Spirit, Do you love yourself enough to feel you are worthy to walk with a hand in God? Do you feel good enough that you're honored, that you're enough? Well, I'll tell you something. You are enough right here and right now, even if you threw a pine cone at me. You are enough right here. It doesn't matter. We are here on a spiritual journey, and we learn through mistakes and problems, no matter what we've done, who we've been. It's who we are right now and who we feel ourselves to be. That's what matters, who we feel ourselves to be in this moment. So when we're walking in partnership with God, this journey is when we really recognize, first and foremost, that life isn't happening to us. We're not victims. It's happening through us and as us. And so we know that right now we can make choices. We can have thoughts and actions and words that lift us up to be in alignment with Spirit. That's here for us right now in this moment. We can do it. We can do it. And if you didn't think that you were enough right now, I'm going to read you another quote from my second favorite Sufi mystic, Hafez. My beloved said, "My name is not complete without yours." My name is not complete without yours. And I thought, how could a human's worth ever be such? And God, knowing all our thoughts, then addressed my heart and revealed a sublime truth to the world when he said, "Your soul completes me. Everyone's soul completes me. I am made whole by your life." So we need God so much, that power that's greater than we are, that's always available to us. And God needs us to shine that light, to be that goodness, to be that truth. Now we get to do that. We get to try that and be that. You know, what Ernest Holmes talks about partnership with God, he said, we're always in partnership with God, always. And he calls this God and company. We are the company. God's the head honcho, and we're the company. We're the company. And I was thinking, it was cute. I used to go to teen camp and help in religious science and science of mind and with the teens when my kids were younger. And there was a minister there. Her name was Helen Street, and she came from Hawaii, and she always called God Big Daddy. God is just the Big Daddy. And I love that. You know, what a good thing. We can hold the big daddy's hand, right? We can do that. Not so intimidating at all. Now, the problem is, not the problem, but the opportunity is for us to claim this power. It's always there for it. We can't be separate. It's impossible because we're created in the image and likeness, you know that. And so we can't be separate from this power, but we have to claim it. It's there for us. When Ernest Holmes says there's a power greater than we are, that we can use at any time. It is a power for good, and we can use it at any time. It's always there for us. The problem is, the power is always there for us. We can use it or misuse it. If we think about it, it's like the law of electricity. We can use that law of electricity to light up a room, to light up a house, to celebrate Christmas, to do all sorts of beautiful things, or we can use it to burn down the house. You know, it's up to us where our consciousness is in that path. We can use it or misuse it. It's up to us. Now, there's another quote, and this is by another mystic. Mystics have, the reason I talk about mystics so much, mystics of all faiths join together on the same knowing. There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is our life now. That's the one thing they all know. No matter what the religion is, they step above any of the duality, any of that, and they know that truth. Rabia was a 8th century female Islamic saint and mystic. And she was a beautiful woman, so it's told. And she lived a very troubled life. She was taken into slavery and sold, and you can imagine the story from there. But when she found her partnership with God, her life changed completely. And here's what she said. When God said, "My hands are yours," I knew I could heal every creature on earth. I saw that the divine beauty in each heart is the root of all time and space. However, I once was a sleeping ocean, and in a dream, I became jealous of a pond. In a dream. You know, I was the sleeping ocean, as we all are. Just as you were saying, we are the ocean in a drop. We've got that here. We're all of it. But when we get into the thinking of limited thinking, she got jealous of a pond because she didn't know her worth at that time. And she ends this by saying, until we know that God lives in us and we can see God there, a great poverty we suffer. We suffer when we don't know that the goodness we're looking for is in us right now. So we are born here to be creators because we have that potential around us, through us, in us, always. We are here to be creators. And so when we're in our human self and think, oh, I'm so worried, there's so many problems, everything's wrong, I don't know what to do, we can go, oh, but I know there's something greater in me that does know. I know there's something, I may not know it now, but there's something in me right now that knows more. There is an answer. All is well and all will be well, for sure, when I know that greater truth, when I know the something more. Hafez, that second favorite movie, Sufi mystic, said power, that power I'm talking about, that power for good, is safest in the hands, in a poet's hands. I'll read that again. Power is safest in a poet's hands. For the artist, God will always pose. What has all this world seen from art? The shadow is truer and more glorious there in the poem than in the cage where we talk so often of right and wrong. Power in a poet's hands is creating and giving to us beauty and light and wisdom and interest, and not trying to control if it's right or wrong or good or bad or yes or no. So I thought that was really beautiful. Ernest Holmes says, every moment we are walking hand in hand with the infinite responds to our level of faith. How much faith do we have in this power of something greater? That's our spiritual responsibility. When I talked about the spiritual purification of that flute, you know, the vessel that we are to play that music of spirit, to play the light of spirit, the beauty, we have the purification in us that comes from faith in something more, to make sense of the past mistakes we've made, that we can come forth and be available for the something more that wants to be given to us right here and right now. In order for us to do that, we have to do our part. We have to practice on a daily basis. How many of you don't have to raise your hands, you'll know who you are, woke up this morning and sat in stillness before you did anything else? How many of you just sat and accepted the openness within us, that whole to play the music of life? That breath of God is the life force that's always flowing through us, but we regulate how much we have, how much we allow in. So did you sit in that space and just say, I'm one with God right now. I'm one with Spirit. I feel the presence. I am alive in this moment in life. And did you ask, even before getting up, even if you walk to the couch or this chair, wherever your favorite spot is, did you ask, what's mine to do today? And where must I surrender and let God take over, love take over, Spirit take over? Where? Did you ask that? Did you do those two things? And then, for me, the most important thing for me is to be in gratitude, to say thank you, to just be in gratitude. Thank you. You know, all the way here, I hit red lights this morning, and I said, thank you for reminding me to pause and be still. But don't make me late. But anyway, Just kidding on that one. Anyway, so say thank you in advance, and thank you for what's yet to come. So, I am a hole in a flute where God's breath moves. Listen to the music. So just take a breath as we form our prayer wall right now. I want us to just be in that place and space where we can just feel like what it feels like to let life, creativity, potentiality, God, love, Spirit move through us. Because if we ever have a question of being connected to God, we just need to love. Love is the answer. Love is the greatest principle of life. Hafez invites us, admit something. To everyone you see, say to them, love me. But don't say it out loud because they might call the cops. Still, think about this. Love me. Think about the pull in all of us to connect. To connect with God, to connect with each other, to connect with life. So let's have our practitioners and ministers come up front, please. I know we still have quite a few people in line, so I'm going to ask our practitioners to be conscious of short prayers right now because we want to get everyone touched, but we also want to continue with all the people here. So I'm just going to ask you in this moment to stand up. Take a stand for Spirit, take a stand for life, take a stand for love. And I'm going to ask you to repeat a few things after me because what we do right here, we are greater than the sum of our parts. And the goodness we share in this room and the truth we know, I know goes out beyond these walls and is felt by the greater consciousness. And we know we have an effect. So the first thing, just feel your feet on the ground and just say after me, I walk in partnership with Spirit. I know divine wisdom guides my path. I listen with my heart and respond with love. I trust the unseen guidance of Spirit. I know I am never alone. And take a nice deep breath. And now, feeling totally filled with the light, I call them the white sparklies of Spirit. Just say with me, I'm alive. I'm alert. I'm enthusiastic. I feel good. I look good. I am good. Now tell your partner, and so are you. And so it is. And be ready to sing your praises. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you.